Hello there guys, welcome back to BluesTV for my live review of Chelsea 1, Leicester City 1. I hope it didn't start there too early, but I think it should be fine. If I'm not, you know what I said. But yeah, today I'm honestly quite disappointed, both with the result and also even more so with the performance, because if you look at our second half, I actually can't be disappointed with the result because we have to be really happy with getting a draw there, because that second half we really should have lost. Of course, first half we were the much better team and should have been, should have scored at least 2 if not 3 goals. But that second half we were struggling a lot, and yeah, I mean, that's problems. There's problems, I'll tell you that much. Of course, if you're new to BluesTV, please do subscribe. That would be massively appreciated. There will be fan cams out later on as well. And of course, a matchday vlog with Lewis. So for all of that content, please do subscribe and also drop a like on this live stream. That would be massively appreciated. Please let me know down in the chat as well, please, whether everything's going well, the sound is all right, and everything's live and everything. Please let me know down in the comment section below. But yeah, let's get into it. So let's start off with the lineup, as we usually do, and it was pretty much what I hoped for in my preview. If you didn't see that, please go and check that out. It was a 4-3-3. It was not a 4-2-3-1, and it was Mason Mount instead of Mateo Kovacic, in that 4-3-3 compared to Wednesday. So it was kept Arrizabalaga in goal, of course, Azpilicueta at the right back, a centre-back pairing of Andreas Christensen and Kazuma. At left-back, it was still Emerson Palmieri, a midfield three of Jorginho at the base, N'Golo Conte to his right, and then, like I say, Mason Mount to his left. Then Pulisic started on the left, Pedro started on the right, and Olivier Giroud started up top, even though there was a lot of interchanging with the wingers. So sometimes Pulisic was on the right, and Pedro was on the left, and so on. And that was that. And the first 15, 20 minutes of the game were absolutely incredible. I have to tell you that much. They were incredible. I mean, we should have scored about 2 goals within the first 4 minutes. Like, it was actually insane. Our pressing was ridiculous. Like, that is what I always, was kind of missing from what I kind of saw from Sarri at Napoli, and then what he didn't do at Chelsea. And that's exactly what we got in that first 15 minutes or so. Unbelievable pressing, and we were so good at it. Completely caught Leicester off guard, you could say. Mount had a good chance that he should have done actually better with before he scored. Pulisic then almost with the I don't know, rebound, I guess. And then Mason Mount did make it 1-0 in the 7th minute with a great finish when he just very cheekily just put Ndidi under a lot of pressure. Didn't see him coming, didn't get a shout, I think, either. Took the ball off him, and even though while he was stumbling, because indeed he obviously tried to get back at him, he just slotted it in past Kasper Schmeichel, and it was a great finish, and it was the perfect start. We had more chances after that. N'Golo Conte had a huge chance later on after great back heel inside the box by Olivier Giroud. That Christian Fuchs just about got I'm going to say in a German way, Christian Fuchs, just about got his foot on. Not sure whether Kante would have actually put it past Schmeichel or not. I'm not 100% sure. Not sure why he went for it with his right. I know it's a stronger left foot, but it's a bit weird. Anyway, as the first half went on, we got worse and worse and worse. We struggled to play it out from the back more. Leicester got into the game. We struggled to create, even though that Kante chance came later on when we already were kind of struggling. But it just wasn't as fluid anymore. Like, at the start, it was ridiculous. I will talk about tiredness and fatigue for the second half, but I can't use it as an excuse for the first half. It can't be used as that. Let's be honest now. But we just struggled. Giroud couldn't hold up any ball anymore. He didn't win any headers. He did all right once we got close to the box. He kind of assisted Mount's big chance early on, and he had another other couple good moments for Pedro one as well. But as the game went on and as we couldn't get up the pitch, he couldn't win a header, he couldn't hold the ball up, he was never where the ball ended up being. Not necessarily his fault, that part, because we just tried to clear it at times, but he was just never there. And the problem with Olivier Giroud is, as much as he usually is good at winning headers and holding the ball up, when he can't do that, he's not an option to... No, we did not play a 4-2-3-1. We played a 4-3-3 and nothing else. It's as simple as that. We played a 4-3-3 and nothing else. And a 4-1-4-1 is nothing else but a 4-3-3. It's just the wingers a bit deeper. It's just a question of definition. But yes, some people were trying to tell me we were playing 4-2-3-1. We were not. Whether you believe me or not, whether you agree with me, it is what it is. Anyway, where was I? Giroud is too slow to playing behind, so you don't have that outlet. And that for us is a problem. That is a problem when he plays. He has good attributes to his game. That back heel for Kante was unbelievable. And his strength sometimes is very useful and good. But then when you can't manage to get that into the game, you can't even send him. You can't even send him to just give you a bit of space and then let the rest of the team catch up to him to press hard up the pitch. And that's what we struggled with. That was our biggest problem. Pulisic struggled all game. We just couldn't really get into it. Had a couple of decent moments, But other than that, there was nothing happening from him. Absolutely nothing happening from him, and it was a little bit disappointing, I won't lie. Pedro, really good early on, but then faded. And then Leicester had a couple of moments where they could have done a bit better with. Kepa had a couple of scary moments. I say a couple. It was one in the first half. When, I don't know, he tried to pass it out and then he, I don't know, mistouched it, I guess. And then Jamie Vardy almost went through and he just about kept it out, I think. I think it was Vardy, that's what I mean. But then second half, nothing changed. I was kind of hoping for, again, a really quick start to the half, like in the first half, with a lot of pressing and maybe getting a second goal quickly because it was still 1-0. But we didn't do that. It just kept going like in the first half. Leicester kind of all over us more and more as the game went on. And we just struggled. We couldn't get it forward enough. Pulisic wasn't doing anything. Pedro got worse and worse and worse, especially after the first 20 minutes. Pedro just was awful. He just kept losing the ball. It was really frustrating. It was so good early on. So much pressing, such good play, such good movement. But then he just got awful. It was like United all over again. It was horrible to watch. Absolutely horrible. And then bloody Christian Fuchs, who retired from the Austrian national team 3 years ago, he absolutely tore us a new one in the second half. He's not even the starting left back. He's way worse than Ben Chilwell. Imagine Ben Chilwell would have played. We would have had big troubles. Our right side is a big, big problem. Azpilicueta is a big, big problem. And I wanted to be a bit more positive. That's why I didn't put Azpilicueta being a problem in the title, but rather went for Mason Mount because I'm going to touch on him in a minute. But Azpilicueta was a problem in the second half. We were all over the shop. Jorginho got taken off for Kovacic at some point. Tammy Abraham came on for Olivier Giroud. And also Willian came on for Pulisic. And none of that changed anything. We didn't play any balls in behind to actually use Tammy's pace compared to Giroud. We just did the same thing, which obviously Giroud is better than Tammy, so that was a bit pointless. Kovacic just replaced Jorginho, just exact same thing really at the base of the 4-3-3. Obviously, when we defended very deep before anyone turns me around and just slates me to death for saying we played 4-3-3. When we were very defensive, when we were very deep in our own half, yes, it turned into a 4-2-3-1, but that's what it always was. We did a lot of that last season on the Saudi as well. It's still a 4-3-3, but Kante obviously drops deeper, and Mason Mount interpreted that role a lot more offensively than Mateo Kovacic ever did last season. So that is the difference, and that's why a lot of people think he was at the number 10 when he just wasn't. He just interpreted it more offensively, which I liked. But yeah, we just had problems. Jorginho couldn't keep up with the pace, but neither could Kovacic when he came on. They just overran us. I don't know. It was just a bit all over the shop now, and we just couldn't get past. That was our problem. We had the ball calm, but we couldn't get it forward, and we couldn't put them under pressure, and that kind of put ourselves under pressure with that, if that makes sense to any of you. And that was obviously a big problem. And then, obviously, Wilfred Ndidi, is Wilfred his first name? Yeah, Wilfred Ndidi made it 1-0 from a corner in the 67th minute. Obviously, we conceded from a set piece. I mean, we should have really known that from pre-season because we're awful at defending set pieces. It was obviously zonal marking. And Ndidi just popped up right between Zuma and Azpilicueta. Yes, Azpilicueta saw him. Zuma didn't. But Ndidi's a tall guy, and I'm not sure you can really blame Aspi for not doing that. But that's the problem with zonal marking. If a really tall player goes into a zone where there's a smaller player, you're going to struggle. And then he wasn't even fully on him, neither Zuma nor Aspi were, and then he just headed it in. But from pre-season, we should have known that if we're going to concede from anything, it was absolutely going to be from set pieces, and that's exactly what it was. And after that, it was just Leicester, to be honest. I mean, Leicester really needed to win this. They had plenty of chances, like 2 or 3 huge ones that they really should have scored from and won that game, but we had nothing, quite frankly. Absolutely nothing. And the second half, no one was good. The only 2 that you can really say that were decent, maybe, well, not even him actually, was Mason Mount and N'Golo Kanté. I actually thought Christensen and Zuma did okay in overall terms, but still were so fragile defensively, they weren't incredible. But Mason Mount, even though he started to lose the ball at times, he was still by far our best player. He was running everything. He was everywhere. He was running huge amounts of distances, covering everything, challenging for every ball, trying to do stuff on the ball, trying to use his teammates. N'Golo Kanté, absolute machine, obviously kept running. Even he looked a little bit tired towards the end as he let spaces open up a bit more as they did earlier on in the game. But generally, I do have to mention it, right? Because Leicester had the week off, and rather than that, we played 120 minutes of a monster game against Liverpool in Istanbul, which included, 2 4-hour flights, so 4-hour flight each way, which obviously isn't good for, recovery and stuff either. And 120 minutes, takes a toll on you. It simply does take a toll on you. It is as simple as that. You saw that. I'm not going to use it as a complete excuse, but you saw that there was problems with that. You saw that they were getting tired. And it is understandable to an extent, and you could only make so many subs. And then Lampard's problem was that our subs didn't do anything. Kovacic didn't really change anything. If anything, it was a bit worse control-wise than it was under Jorginho. Tammy, I don't think we used him right, but he didn't do a good job either, in all honesty. And Willian. Bloody hell, Willian, right? I mean, you remember Jose Mourinho after the United game saying if Willian is not injured anymore, but just not fit, he should have brought him and at least subbed him on against United. Well, today we saw why he didn't and why he shouldn't have, because that was ridiculous. I'm not even, like, he didn't, like, look completely unfit or anything. He just didn't look bothered. Like, what was some of the stuff he was doing? He wasn't bothered to run back quick enough after a corner, so he wouldn't be offside if he received the ball again. He was offside. Great. So that was, you know, an attack on when we were trying to still chase the win towards the end, when we were, you know, clearly incredibly tired. And then there was this one pass where he kind of just completely leisurely just tried to, like, kind of curl chip it out to Emerson and just hit it right against the Leicester player that was 2 yards in front of him. And we lost the ball and they hit us on a counter. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Emerson, there was this moment where Leicester had a huge counter-attack and he was just stood on the halfway line. Not good. But the guy was already shattered in Liverpool, against Liverpool on Wednesday. So I can understand it. It shouldn't happen, but I can understand it that at some point you're just done. Like, at some point you're just done. And, you know, we obviously used all of our 3 subs. And, I mean, we have problems, guys. We have problems. And that is kind of life without Eden Hazard, because we had... You know, obviously, it is the same problem as ever as well, because we have chances. We had chances in that first half to kill the game off. We could have been 2 or 3 up, you know, in the first half before Leicester ever even kind of really entered our half, if that makes sense. Like, before they ever entered our half, you know, we had huge chances to be 2 or 3-0 up. So, you know, it is that. And then in the second half, we give the game away and almost lose it. And that is kind of, it was the same problem last year. It was the same problem in the second year under Conte, when we just couldn't finish the chances. It is the same problem as always. And now, it's arguably even worse because we don't have our best finisher and our best goal scorer and our best player anymore in Eden Hazard. And you could just see that today. I'm confident if we had Hazard, we'd probably win today. Well, I said that. We'd probably win all 3 games we've played so far this season if we still had Hazard, quite frankly. Which is depressing, but it is sadly the simple reality. And it is a big problem because Pulisic was poor today. I thought Pulisic was poor. Not saying I should never start. Yeah, not a great game. Fair enough. Happens. Hopefully he's better next time he plays. Hopefully that's next week as well. Pedro, good early on, then shocking, absolutely shocking. Willian comes on, not great. Hudson-Odoi needs to be back soon and hopefully then perform better, because without Hazard it is a problem. And then when we don't have a particularly prolific striker, because yeah, Giroud scored against Liverpool, but he's not exactly scoring a lot. He scored 2 league goals last season. Yeah, I know he only started 7 games, but he came on in what, 30 others or 25 others? Like, you know, should have scored more last season as well. And then Tammy Abraham so far isn't looking like the most prolific, at least, you know, so far this season at Chelsea. But Choi isn't getting a look at all, which I still find a little bit weird. Like, why? I mean, I get why if you put Giroud on the bench, you can't put Choi on the bench. Why would you put 2 strikers on the bench? That makes no sense. But why isn't he getting a look in? I mean, we are not there training. Maybe he's just not doing anywhere near as well as Abraham and Giroud in training. Fair enough. But it is a problem, right? It is a problem. We, like, you know, when people ask me who do you expect to score and stuff, I'm in this, like, predictor league with, like, the Chelsea Echo, I think it is. And, like, you know, they always try to, you know, predict the score and you predict the goal scores and everything. And every time I sit there, I'm like, well, who's going to score? I'm always like, well, Mount or Barkley, whoever plays, probably, if anyone. Then maybe Pulisic, maybe Pedro, and then maybe a striker. So I'm always thinking of our attacking midfielders first to score, whether that's Mount, whether that's Barkley, or whether that's Ruben when he comes back. I always think of them as scoring way before I ever think of our strikers, I ever think of our wingers. And that is obviously a problem, but that is it's kind of what, I don't know, it's kind of what we have to deal with. Yeah, I don't know if Chelsea fans were saying we're going to win the Premier League after the first 20 minutes. And those first 20 minutes were incredible. But a game like that is not sustainable for, like, a style like that is not sustainable for 90 minutes. It's probably not even sustainable for 45 minutes, especially when you had played 120 minutes in midweek. That takes a toll on you. People say, oh, you know, fatigue is not an issue and it's not an excuse. Try playing 120 minutes at the highest level of football, at the very highest level of a sport that is possible. You try doing that for 120 minutes on Wednesday, then get on a plane for 4 hours, and then try and be even better on Sunday after. So you try that. It's not that easy, but it is a problem and we need to fix up. And there is still good things. There is still a lot of good things about us. Our passing play, when we're fit, when we're fresh, is incredible. But we need to somehow be able to hold up against, you know, another strong midfield, because as soon as they got the overhand on us, we were done. Like, they were just ripping us open. And I mean, Christian Fuchs is, I don't know how old exactly he is, 33 roughly, but something like that. He took us apart. He sprinted past Pedro like he wasn't even there. Azpilicueta obviously wasn't even there. And he was just tearing us apart. Christian Fuchs. Let that sink in. Christian Fuchs. That is unbelievable. Like, unbelievably embarrassing. Our right side is a big problem. You know, Reece James needs to be back soon. And Hudson-Odoi needs to be back soon, and then neither of Willian and Pedro should be playing. Even though Pulisic wasn't great today, but Pulisic's 20, not above 30. So him, I forgive a poor performance a lot easier than I do for a 30-plus-year-old. You know, Willian coming on, okay, not 100% fit yet, but he just looked like he wasn't really trying. And I'm not going to say he wasn't really trying. I just say he looked like it. Because I'm sure he was trying. But there were still these moments after the corner when he just didn't get, out far enough, quick enough to not be offside when he receives the ball again. Things like that just piss me off. Like, they just annoy you. And, yeah, it's a problem. We had our chances. We didn't have any chances, really, in the second half, to be honest. Like, nothing. Absolutely nothing. But first half, we had plenty of chances, and it is a problem. And we need that first win under our belt. And Frank Lampard needs that first win under his belt. I mean, it's 3 games now. And yes, we had one of the toughest opening 3 fixtures to a season you can have. Away at Man United at Old Trafford, Super Cup against Liverpool, and then playing a midweek game then against Leicester, who are one of the teams that are challenging for top 6, arguably. But at least, certainly one of the favourites to come 7th at the end of the year. And, it is tough. That is a tough start, the new manager and having that extra game in midweek and everything. So next week, if we don't win next week, I'm not going to say I'm going to start worrying and I'm going to start, hitting the panic button. But then it's going to be a bit more of a problem. Like this, I'm still okay, but it is a problem. And we need to build on the positives. We need to work on the negatives. And it's just as that. I didn't even think our defense was that bad today, except Aspie. But the midfield today was a bit more of a problem. Against Liverpool, it wasn't. So that was interesting. While Mount was really good going forward. Did we miss Kovacic in that sense? Rather than instead of Jorginho, with Jorginho and Conte, because we were really good against Liverpool like that. Is that a problem? Is that something that Lampard needs to work on? Because where do I put Mount? Where do I put Ruben when he's back? Because Mount is not a winger, even though he did all right against Liverpool when he came on. Is it a problem if I play someone more attacking? Obviously against a much lesser side it won't be. But against the Leicester, is it even a problem against the Leicester, against the Wolves, against an Everton? Because against Liverpool, obviously. But yeah, anyway. Couple of things. I'm going to reply to a couple of questions from the chat, or a couple of things that you mentioned in your chat, and then I'm going to leave it there. And yeah, that is a good point, actually. We do miss Luis, especially when we struggle to play it out from the back. Because we had a couple of decent switch plays, but not enough. And Luis just gave us that outlet. Like, the cross winger was just making that run. Luis played it to him. He held the ball up, just did his thing where he tried to go for goal, or where they laid it back to the people that caught up. And that was good. That gave us time when we were struggling to play the ball out from the back. And now we don't really have that outlet so much anymore. Willian is the worst number 10 in the Premier League. Don't know all the number 10s, but he wasn't good today. But I mean, come on, guys, we can't like blame Willian for a 20-minute performance today when he was out for quite a while, with obviously an injury and stuff. Don't judge him on today, right? I mean, give the guy time as well. When is Reece James back? Now, what Frank Lampard said in an interview is that he should be back in training after the next international break. So then give it another couple of weeks after that to be fully fit. Obviously, he missed the entirety of pre-season, and then he should be fine. But yeah. Why did we draw? Because we couldn't score first half, or couldn't, take our chances first half, and then we were really poor second half, and very much so could have lost. If you look at the game overall, it was probably a fair draw because we had a much better team in the first half, and they were a much better team in the second half, but still we very much so could have won as well. Yeah, I agree. We looked really tired today. I think we should go back to 4-3-3. Jerry, we played 4-3-3. I don't know why everyone keeps telling you, keeps saying that we played a 4-2-3-1. We didn't. I'm sorry, but we just didn't. Just because Mason Mount is a number 10 doesn't mean we played in a 4-3-3. I'm sorry, we didn't. And I know Sky and everyone showed us playing in a 4-2-3-1, but we didn't. I'm sorry. Kante was so much higher up the pitch than Jorginho constantly. Kante was pressing the bloody striker. That is not what a 4-2-3-1 double pivot holding mid like Kante in that situation would do. It just doesn't. Yes, when Leicester came very close to our box, he dropped deep, of course. But that's just logic, right? That's just absolute logic. And Mason Mount, if he was a normal number 10, he wouldn't be in a box clearing, making clearances when Leicester had counter-attacks at times. And that's what he did. It was a 4-3-3. It might be a bit early, but kind of ask this, but does it look like we can get top 4? We won't get top 4. But I would have told you the same thing before the season. Whatever. AE W is awesome. I don't think we're going to make top 4, but I said that before the start of the season. I think we're going to come somewhere between 5th and 7th, probably. I mean, is Luis laughing now, considering his mistake yesterday? I don't know why Arsenal fans always think it's so funny when Chelsea don't do that well. I mean, you guys are in the Europa League, you're in the final. You haven't been past the Champions League round of 16 in a decade. So, I mean, chill, take a seat. Know your place, lads. Know your place, lads. Trice Acosta, I think, is better off than Aspilicueta. Meh, I'm not 100% sure. Now we appreciate how good Sarri was. Nah, is it Hazard? I think it's Hazard. I wouldn't say that, because also Sarri would have struggled a lot without Eden Hazard. That's just a problem. We don't have a goal scorer now. We don't have that best player now. We have Mason Mount, we have Loftus-Cheek, we have Hudson-Odoi once they're back. But they're not Hazard. Someone like Hudson-Odoi and Loftus-Cheek could become something near Hazard. I don't think they'll ever be anywhere near as good, actually. But they could sort of become something like them. But they're not going to be Hazard. And they certainly aren't Hazard now. And now we don't even have our best 2 attacker players. In my opinion, strong opinion that from me, Hudson-Odoi and Loftus-Cheek, especially Loftus-Cheek, are our best attacking players. And we don't have either of them right now. So obviously we're going to have a couple of problems here and there. But guys, I think I'm going to leave it there. I think enough was said. I do hope you enjoyed this. Please do subscribe to BluesTV if you haven't already. If you're new here, please drop a like on this live stream if you enjoyed it. And I'm sure quite a few of you watching, which I really do appreciate. So, please do hit the like button down below. And of course, once this live stream is turned into a video, leave me your thoughts on the game down in the comment section below. Who do you think were the problems? I guess there's also polls up on the I button up there. If you click that poll, like who was our best player, who was our worst player. And if you don't agree with any of the options I gave you there, please leave your choice, I guess, down in the comment section below. But yeah, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it. But yeah, it's up to Chelsea. It's upwards and onwards. We will get that win eventually. Hopefully it's next week. And I'll see you when I see you.